You didn't choose to feel this way. Nobody sat you down and told you that sunsets would make you emotional, that a stranger's sadness on the subway would stay with you for hours, that one harsh word from someone you care about could quietly ruin your entire week. It just happened. And somewhere along the way, you started wondering if something was wrong with you. Because the world keeps telling you to toughen up, to care less, to stop taking everything so personally. And you've tried. You genuinely have. But you still feel it all, every single time. And here's what I want you to know before anything else. You are not broken. You never were. There's a term in psychology called high sensitivity. It was first studied in the 1990s by psychologist Elaine Aron, who discovered that roughly 15 to 20% of the population processes sensory and emotional information far more deeply than others. Not slightly more, deeply. Your nervous system isn't overreacting, it's over-perceiving. It notices things that most people simply filter out. The slight shift in someone's tone. The tension in a room before anyone has said a word. The emotional weight underneath what seems like a perfectly normal conversation. And while that might sound like a gift, and in many ways it is, it also comes with a cost that most people never see. Because when you feel things this deeply, the world doesn't always feel manageable. It can feel like too much, too loud, too heavy, too full of meaning that nobody else seems to be carrying but you. Think about the last time you were in a conversation and you sensed something was off. Not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. The pause that lasted a second too long. The way someone avoided your eyes. The energy in the room that shifted so subtly you almost talked yourself out of noticing it. But you did notice. You always notice. And then comes the part that most people don't understand about you. You don't just notice and move on. You sit with it. You carry it. You bring it home with you, place it carefully in your mind, and return to it at 2 in the morning when everything is quiet and the weight of it finally becomes too heavy to ignore. That's not weakness. That's the architecture of a deeply sensitive mind doing exactly what it was designed to do. Processing, absorbing, trying to make sense of a world that rarely slows down long enough to explain itself. But here's where it gets complicated. Because living with this kind of depth comes with a quiet tax that accumulates over time without you ever realizing it's happening. You start absorbing other people's emotions like they're your own. Someone close to you is stressed, and suddenly you feel the stress too, even if nothing in your own life has changed. Someone you love is grieving, and their grief becomes a weight you carry alongside your own daily life. There's a word for this in psychology. It's called emotional contagion. And for highly sensitive people, it isn't metaphorical. It's neurological. Your mirror neurons, the cells in your brain responsible for empathy and emotional resonance, are exceptionally active. You don't just understand what someone is feeling. On some level, you feel it with them. And while that makes you one of the most compassionate people in any room, it also means that rooms cost you something. Social interactions that energize other people can leave you completely drained. Not because you're antisocial, not because something is wrong with you, but because you were never just in one conversation. You were in everyone's conversation simultaneously. Picking up signals, processing undercurrents, feeling things that weren't even directed at you. And then there's the guilt. This is the part that rarely gets talked about. Because sensitive people don't just feel the world deeply, they feel deeply responsible for it. When someone is upset, even if it has nothing to do with you, some part of your mind quietly asks whether you could have done something differently, whether your presence helped or complicated things, whether you said too much or not enough, whether the way you exist in someone's life is adding to their weight or taking from it. And that level of self-scrutiny, that constant quiet audit of your own impact on the people around you, is exhausting in a way that's almost impossible to explain to someone who doesn't experience it. Because it looks fine from the outside. You smile, you show up, you hold space for everyone. And inside, there's this low, persistent hum of emotional maintenance that never fully switches off. Here's a pattern that psychologists have noticed in highly sensitive people. They often become experts at managing everyone else's emotions while neglecting their own. They learn early, sometimes very early, that their sensitivity can be too much for the people around them. So they become skilled at dimming it in public, at keeping the volume of their inner world low enough that it doesn't disrupt anyone, at being the strong, steady, reliable one, the one who listens, the one who understands, the one who checks in, who remembers, who cares. And they do all of this while secretly running on almost empty, because nobody is checking on them the way they check on everyone else. Nobody is noticing the small signs of overwhelm the way they notice it in others. And after a while, they stop expecting it. They adjust their expectations to match the reality they've been given, that their emotional world is theirs alone to navigate. And that kind of loneliness, the loneliness of being surrounded by people who love you but still feeling fundamentally unseen, is one of the heaviest things a sensitive person can carry. But here's the thing that changes when you actually understand what sensitivity is. You stop trying to fix yourself. Because for a long time, the assumption is that the goal is to feel less, to build thicker skin, to create enough emotional distance from the world that it can't get to you as easily. And so you spend years trying to become someone who cares a little less deeply, reacts a little less visibly, carries a little less of what the world leaves behind. And it never works. Because you can't rewire your nervous system through willpower. You can't meditate your way into a fundamentally different brain. And more importantly, you don't actually want to. Because everything that makes you feel things deeply, the same capacity that makes sadness heavy, also makes love enormous, makes beauty genuinely breathtaking, makes connection with the right people feel like something rare and real and worth all of it. There's a concept in psychology called sensory processing sensitivity, and researchers who study it have found something that reframes everything. High sensitivity isn't a disorder, it's a survival strategy. Across dozens of species, not just humans, roughly the same percentage of the population displays this trait. Because in any group, you need individuals who can detect subtle danger, read social dynamics accurately, feel the emotional temperature of a community. You need people who notice what others miss, who feel the warning signs before they become crises, who hold the emotional fabric of relationships together through sheer attentiveness. You were never meant to be like everyone else. You were meant to be the one who feels the things that everyone else is too defended to feel. That's not a burden. That's a function, a deeply necessary one. So what do you actually do with all of this? Because understanding it intellectually is one thing. Living with it, navigating a world that moves faster than you process it, being around people who don't feel things the way you do, that's something else entirely. The first shift is this. You stop treating your sensitivity as a problem to manage and start treating it as a reality to work with. That means creating space for yourself, not as a luxury, but as a genuine necessity. Time alone isn't you hiding from the world. It's your nervous system doing the filing it never had time to do in real time. It's not optional, it's maintenance. The second shift is about boundaries, but not the kind people usually talk about. Not walls, not distance, but clarity. Understanding that you can care deeply about someone and still not take responsibility for their emotional state. That empathy is not the same thing as absorption. That you can be present with someone's pain without letting it become yours to carry home. And the third shift, perhaps the hardest one, is this. You have to let yourself be known. Not performing sensitivity for the people around you. Not being the person who holds space for everyone while quietly managing your own feelings behind closed doors. But actually letting someone in. Showing them the full weight of your inner world without immediately apologizing for how heavy it is. Because the right people, when they encounter that depth in you, will not find it overwhelming. They will find it extraordinary. And here's what I want to leave you with. The world is full of people who feel things at the surface, who move through life relatively unscathed, emotionally light, unburdened by the kind of depth that follows you through your days. And that is genuinely fine for them. But somewhere, in quiet apartments and late-night drives and the margins of notebooks, there are people who feel the world the way you do. Completely, heavily, beautifully. And they are not too much. They are exactly enough. You were never meant to feel less. You were meant to find the places and the people where feeling everything isn't a flaw to hide, but a depth to share. And that search, the search for those places and those people, that is not a symptom of your sensitivity. That is the most human thing about you.